Hi, my name is Catherine Brooke Ryan. I'm 27 years old and I'm from Southern California. I have a degree in English with an emphasis in creative writing. I'm able to travel and be in Seoul, South Korea between beginning to middle of March. I do have the funds available, and I also have all the documents in order for my visa. So I am ready to teach. The first interview question about whether or not I would believe I would be effective in teaching elementary school age children is I most certainly would. I've been tutoring this age group and I'm very familiar with their learning style and approaches, and I've really enjoyed working with them. They're at a pivotal age where they're able to think critically and formulate their own opinions, but yet they still kind of need that guiding and shaping to really support their opinions and thoughts. So I've enjoyed working with them and helping them realize their own potential. And I realize the constraints and benefits of working with this age group. And I'm very happy and very willing to work with this age group. The second question about how I would deal with out-of-control children is that I believe it's very important to lay out the guidelines and expectations from the get-go. So that way there's no misconfusion, there's no subjectivity, it's all laid out and very much recognizable and familiar. So when they see a child, a fellow classmate misbehave, it's no big surprise, and they know that the same would happen to them. However, there are outside influences that might hinder their learning, and so I believe it's important to address that too. Maybe the student doesn't understand the assignment or the material, or cannot seem to brainstorm on the lessons, so I would work with them individually. However, if it was just a behavioral problem, then that needs to be addressed in a different manner, and I would enlist whatever protocol the administration is currently using. For the third question about if I believe it's important to have a good lesson plan, I do, because it's an objective way to gauge the progression of the classroom and their learning approaches. And it's easy to kind of build off of each lesson if you know what you've already taught. As well, it's a good way to develop your future lesson plans. And it's a good way to cultivate a good understanding on both your end and their end. So therefore, if any uncertainty or confusion occurs, it's kind of traceable as far as where that confusion began. I also believe it's important because you can adapt. As long as you have a lesson plan with certain tenets to stick to, it's easier to adapt the lesson plan because you're still able to keep in mind what's important as far as teaching and how that can build on previous lesson plans and how that can also engage students in future lessons. So a good lesson plan is a good way to gauge as far as the growth and potential of the classroom. The fourth question about living in a rural setting is that I believe in interpersonal communication. That's a big part of why I want to be a teacher. So I believe a rural setting would even more so engage in that interpersonal communication, because I would not have any crutches or aids or bilingual areas by which to kind of escape the culture. I would just that much more have to embrace it and learn about it. And I believe it's important to really understand whatever culture I'm in to be able to more effectively teach my students. So I'm there for the experience, not really for the tourist approach to South Korea. I really want this experience for my career and not just as a tourist. So as far as rural areas, it would not deter me whatsoever, and I would enjoy any environment just to help me further my professional perspective on teaching English. So like I said, rural areas would not deter me. If anything, it would even engage me more so, because I would need to engage in that culture that much more. And I'm a very social, positive person, so I don't need a lot of distractions to enjoy my surroundings. The fifth question about conversing with coworkers is that I've taken several English grammar and language acquisition classes, and the best way to absorb a culture is just by observing respectfully and learning their mannerisms and the way certain syntaxes and dynamics are used. So I would just enjoy absorbing that, and the best way to do that is just observe it naturally without challenging it. So I would not get bored. I would kind of learn to maybe rethink my approach to speaking, and as far as even grammar, like maybe there's a different phrase structure rules in the Korean language than there is in English. So I need to kind of revamp my approach to speaking to be able to more effectively communicate with them. So if anything, it would just help me understand more about that whole experience, and so it would not deter me at all. If anything, the more I engage with my coworkers, the easier and more fluid this interaction would become. And the sixth question about coming down to the student's level is that I don't believe it's coming down to their level at all. If anything, they kind of make you think more playfully and a little more naively about your learning, and you kind of have to be able to explain objectively why things are the way they are and why they're important. And it's a very honest approach to learning, I believe, with children of this age. And so if I need to do so with singing and dancing and some more playful interaction, then that's great, because I believe that learning is fun. I love learning. That's why I want to be a teacher, and I want to share that love of learning with others. So whatever I need to do in order to convey the curriculum more effectively is what I'll do. And if that means singing and dancing, then that's all the better. Like I said, my name is Catherine Brooke Ryan. I can begin teaching in the beginning to the middle of March. I have all my documents and necessary paperwork in order, and I can be there at the beginning to middle of March, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.